Hi, I'm Roberto Martinez and you're watching Toffee TV.
Welcome to Toffee TV for the Bleacher Report team stream app, and we're going to have a little chat about the Premier League. We're just over a quarter away into the league season now, and it's wide open for the least 2, 3, 4 spots anyway. Is that a good thing? Are we seeing a better Premier League, or is the fact that there's so many teams up there who maybe people wouldn't have thought would be up there, does that mean it's actually the standard's not very good?
I think it's better. I mean, obviously Chelsea have started outrageously well, haven't they, really? I think Mourinho's just done better than what anyone else could do, which was build on what he done last year. Costa's been fabulous for them, and Hazard and Fabregas and everybody else just seems to gel. And they've been outstanding. But below them, everybody else have been a little bit up, with the exception of Southampton. Everybody else has been a little bit up and down, so to speak. So it makes it a better league, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing though, isn't it? Chelsea have dominated so far, won all but one game, you know, undefeated so far as well, and they look like they're going to run away with it, and that's what gives it a bit of a strange feel. It's, you know, everyone else looks like they could easily get in that top 4, but the fact that they're running away with it so early on gives it slightly a strange feeling. If there was 4 or 5 teams going for that number 1 place, then you could say it was a wide open league. But the fact that we're all sort of saying, well, Champions League, we've all got a chance, leaves me feeling a little bit uneasy about the whole thing.
Yeah, but they're built over years, aren't they? They're a very expensive squad. They always spend money. They're built over a number of years. The fact, I think, we were discussing offset, you know, the fact that there's so many teams for those 4 places. Okay, take Chelsea out of it, but you're talking 7, maybe 8 teams if Southampton, you know, stay the course, with 3 spots available. You know, I mean, that's, for so many years they were called the Sky 4 because it was literally Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and you know, the slots were taken up, with the exception of Newcastle for a couple of years when they spent money. Those places, everyone else was playing for 5th onwards. Over the last 2 or 3 years, you know, those you've seen the slots opening up again now, you know, and you'd expect Manchester City to finish 2nd with the amount of money they've got and Aguero. But after that, you know, 3rd, 4th, it's like the way.
Well, it's wide open from an Everton point of view. I mean, we haven't had a great season so far, but we're still knocking around that. And when you look at how poorly Liverpool have done, how Tottenham look poor this season, Arsenal, you know, they look great sometimes, but you know, on other times just look a very, very average side. And you know, City rely heavily on Aguero. I mean, it's wide open, and you're thinking, you know, you can get away with having a bit of a poor start this season. You know, you mentioned Southampton there. They've had an absolutely great start. They've got a lot of those top teams in December. So I suppose once we come out the other side of Christmas, we're going to know a little bit more. But for clubs like Everton, you know, it is fantastic that it's wide open, because you think you put a run together second half of the season, and who knows where you can go with that.
But we kind of seen this last year, didn't we? We seen Liverpool put that run together. You know, a lot of people seem to, when they look back on last year, seem to forget where it started really for Liverpool, and it was the derby at the end of January. If Everton had won that night, they'd have gone above Liverpool. Liverpool won that night, won I think 11 from 13, and should have won the league if it wasn't for Slippy G. And you know, anyone can do that. I look at Everton's fixtures, and I've said all along, even with the poor start we made, if we can be on the coattails of the top 4 in February, I think we've got Manchester United at home between the end of February and May. And everyone else, although there's no easy games in the Premier League, I look at everyone else as winnable games. So you could see a situation with the last 11 games, Everton winning 9 of them.
But it's not just about going on a good run, is it? Because what's good about this season is we are seeing other teams pick up points from games they wouldn't have won last season. So West Ham look stronger, Stoke look a little bit stronger, you know, Southampton obviously look a hell of a lot stronger. You know, QPR are starting to win games, you know, Newcastle are starting to win games. You know, even a couple of weeks ago, you would have looked at Leicester and said, Leicester are having a good season so far, yet they're in the bottom 3. Okay, Burnley have only won their first game this weekend, but it feels like there is a genuine case of everyone can beat everyone else. So when we get to that tail end of the season, it won't be, well, if you don't beat one of the other teams in the top 7, if you're challenging for the top 4, that means you're gone. There's everyone else is taking points, and I think that leaves me hopeful that Everton have got a great chance still for the top 4.
Very much so. I mean, it is one of those things. I think that sometimes, and it's probably because of what's gone before, people analyse every result and the highs and the lows of every result, but it actually means very little at this stage of the season. You've just got to make sure you're in and around. If you're not going to win the league, you know, I'm not saying Chelsea would want to give up 10 points that they've got so far, because they're flying, of course you wouldn't, but for teams who are competing for the other places, you're going for the Premier League, you've got to win most of your games to win that title, because it's relentless at the top there. But like I say, Champions League places onwards, the season only really starts in February, and you know, you hear Roberto Martinez talking about those final 10 games of the season. He's always preparing for those final 10 games of the season. He divides the season up into thirds.
Is that what he did at Wigan?
Well, it looked like it. He looked as though he didn't bother for the first 2 months, and it was the last 10 games of the season he'd end up winning 8 out of 9 games or something silly, wouldn't he? But I think that what he means is you can get too hung up on league positions at the moment. As long as you can just stay in there or thereabouts, you've got a great chance. And this season has shown more than ever that, like you've just said, anyone can beat anyone. Stoke have already gone and won at Man City, you know, although everyone seems to be winning there at the minute, you know, and West Ham have beaten Liverpool at home, and you know, teams like that beat Manchester City as well. So those teams who were getting beat comfortably last year are now competing with those sides at the top, and you'll get that because the more money comes in, those teams can go out and buy better players. So you've got, on the odd day, you've got that moment of quality that can turn a game and turn those teams in. We've seen Swansea beating Arsenal. They've already won at Old Trafford this season. So everything's very much up for grabs, and it's just about staying in there. But in terms of taking Everton away from it, in terms of the Premier League, that yes, Chelsea are head and shoulders above everybody else at the moment, but the rest of it is fascinating, isn't it? But
and what's probably really good about it is it makes the league from outside more entertaining. Therefore, more people want to pay more money for it, you know, and it keeps it rolling, doesn't it?
Back to money.
It comes back to money, doesn't it? It comes back to, from a personal point of view, from your football club earning more money, and then open, you've got a manager and a board that can go out there and use it wisely and stay above the curve.
That's what it's about, improving year after year, and a lot of teams are doing that. And we had that little question off air, didn't we, whether it was a better league or a worse league. And I think it's probably a better league, although European results would probably argue differently, wouldn't it? That could be other factors.
It's a more interesting league, let's say, than many other leagues out there.
Nicely put there. Yeah. Just sat between the two.
It's more interesting. Not saying that it's got better teams, not saying it's a better quality. It's just more interesting.
It is what it is. Everyone can beat everyone else, and that's a good thing.
As long as Everton are beating everyone else, who cares?
Not bothered, right?
You've been watching Toffee TV for the Bleacher Report, the Team Stream app. Thanks for watching.